I was muted. I was muted. Hello,
Okay.
hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our live stream today. I actually said good morning before, but that was probably like inappropriate because we are in different time zones. So yeah, without further ado, hi everyone. I'm Tobiloba. I'm a front-end engineer and developer advocate at Million JS. Yeah, we've been doing this awesome live stream for some time now, and I'm glad that we are here today again for another awesome episode of the live stream. I will be using React, of course. So yeah, let me have Ali introduce himself. So Ali is on this side of my screen. So Ali, yeah, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. So my name is Ali. So it's been 2 years that I'm coding. So I'm a front-end developer. So as Toby said, like we are doing live stream and teaching about concept of React. So and that was the short introduction about myself. So Toby, back to you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Ali. So for today, we'll be doing tips with React, tips for writing good React code. Because I mean, React is a library and it gives us so much flexibility that we can write wherever we want. But there's actually a good way to write in React and a bad way to write in React. So for today, we're just going to be showing you some good tips as to how to write very good React code and clean and good React code, basically. Just best
Mhm.
practices mostly. So yeah yeah. Let me have Ali go first. Yeah, you can go ahead, Ali.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, let's see. Okay, so right now I we are using Git for creating React projects. So right now we don't see anything in the website. Why? Because we have to run the project. For doing that, we have to come to the terminal and say run command npm run diff so that we can see the website live on the page. Okay, so it's going to give us a localhost link. All we need to do is to copy it and paste it on the Chrome. So right now we are seeing just a navbar which contains logo like H1 and UL like tree list. So the first, like we divided this library stream in 6 sections. So in each section, we are going to teach you one tip of React. The first tip that I'm going to explain is going to be big component. Like if we are working in a massive project, like we have to make components, we have to make files. So for doing that, like if we want to do it manually, then it would take time. But there is an extension which exists in VS Code that will make our work very easy for creating a component. So all we need to do is go to the extension in VS Code and search clean. If you okay, the first so the probably like is going to be the first one. So click that one and go and install this one. Like this extension provide refactoring tool for and yeah, like tool for your React code. So I have already installed the extension. All I need to do is to go to the app.jsx. So you see, like imagine like it's a massive project, but right now it's a small project. But imagine it's a massive project. So, like for example, I have like there are different section, but if I want to make a component for each section manually, then it would take time. But with the extension that we installed, it will make our work very easy. All we need to do right now is to make a separate file, like for navbar. Like I want to take this whole like this 8 or 9 line of code to exists in a separate folder, like in a separate file. All I need to do is to select this navbar, and you see there is something will pop up. All you need to do is click that one, and you will get several options. Like you said, you get extract to constant in closing scope. So leave this section. Let's go to the second section, which is more actions. So you will get three options like extract component to file, extract component, and render conditionally. So we are going to test the first one. Like I'm going to make a separate file. I will click this one. So something will pop up. So all you need to do is to select like which folder are you going to put that file. I'm going to do that one and create an so you see like there is not like navbar.jsx. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to name it navbar.jsx. So once I click press enter for confirmation, you see we are going to get this component navbar, and it's automatically going to import it for us. But if we go, you see in src, we are going to see an a new file by the name of navbar. So you see navbar exists logo name. So all you need to refresh this one, it is same as before. And you can do this method, you can use this method for other section, for other component. And yeah, so that was the first step, which is very helpful. Like if you want to make something real quick, like if you are working in a massive project, so I recommend you to use this extension. And back to you, Toby.
Yes, yes, awesome. So for me, I'll be talking about prop drilling. So
Yeah.
prop drilling is like you having to, as the name says, like you taking in, if you know React, you know there's something called props, so it's like data that you pass down. But React like funnel type, funnel wise, like a funnel. I always use like an example of a funnel to illustrate how React works because React passes data one way. So with prop drilling, it's actually just passing data from the parents to the from the grandparents to the parents, from the parents to the child, from child to grandchild. It's like that is very, very long. Um, and can be very, very unnecessary and make your code bad. So I'll show you what prop drilling looks like and then I'll show you how we can get out of it. The battery is kind of low now, but I think I can make it. Uh yeah, so let me just go started and go to live share. Mm,
Are you getting a problem, bro?
no, I'm not. I'm currently on the yeah, okay, I'm here. Can you see my cursor?
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it.
Okay, so awesome. So if you look at this now, for example, now I have a function, a component called app here. So now here's what I want to do. I want app to render like a component for me, but I want this component to be like three steps down. Maybe I'm doing app, and I want app to have like a header, then I want header to have a navbar, then I want the navbar to have like a text component or something. So let me just do something real quick. I'm just going to come here and create and call it header. I can come here. Now what I want to do is just to render a text inside the navbar because the navbar contains a text or maybe an H1 or something. So now I'm going to come here now and create my header. Mm, so return. So this returns something simple, just a navbar. But I want to actually use that prop inside. I want to actually use that text prop inside my text component. So let's call this guy text component. So I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to return. The text component is going to be expecting a prop, and the prop is going to be just a normal text. So like let me make it an H1 inside H1 and H1. So this guy is going to come in here and just take like text. So now I'm going to come in here. So I'm going to come in here and just use the text. So like this, create a state here, const text, set text, use state. And this is going to be my text. So I'm going to pass this text down into my header. Header is going to be here. It's going to return header like this. And I might have to wrap header. And this state is not used. We're not using this state. So let's just come here, pass header, text. So now look at what we're doing here. What we're doing here is just us passing text like up to three steps beneath. So maybe I have code text, maybe like um hello folks. I'm just going to come here and pass in text. Come here as well. We don't actually need text in this component, but because this guy is a child, he's a parent of this guy. I haven't created an app, but that's true. So it's because this guy is a parent of is a grandparent of text component, we need to pass it down, 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 all the way. But that is very like inefficient and stuff, and it works though, but it's something that we shouldn't actually have to do. So I can come here and render text component.
Yeah.
This is prop drilling in action. And most beginner React, even I, when I was learning, when I was still using React and I wasn't very good at it, I did this a lot because it was very less stressful and efficient. That way, and actually, it's not efficient because
Yeah.
it's just you writing bad code. In all honesty, just look at this. You have to come here, structure text from prop, pass it down as well, come inside here as well, still structure text from prop. You're not actually using this text value here. You're just destructuring it and like passing it down onto the next person. But this text,
Yeah.
you don't actually need text at all. And then you eventually come here and destructure the text. Then you use the text. But this is very, very, very bad code, and nobody actually does. Nobody actually does write code like this. It's not even efficient at all. It's very, very, very bad React code, but it works though. It works, but you shouldn't do this. So the solution to this is just to use context. The context, you can basically just like create a context up above, and then have everybody and have your grandchildren or the great grandchildren, which is text component in this case, use the context. And it's very like super easy to use, like super easy to use. So I'm just going to like create a context here just to like rewrite this entire code I've written. Okay, I still have enough battery. So I'm just going to rewrite this entire component I've written to come up here.
Okay.
I'm just going to come right here and create a context. So the context is just going to be is it? Yeah. Just going to call it text context rather. So here I'm just going to create a context const. Uh, I need to did I delete the imports? Yeah, I didn't import at all. So text context. I'm going to create context from React. Let me import this. Create context. Did it import? No, it didn't. I thought we have access to automatic import. I need to import it. Create context from React. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to create the context up here. Now I'm going to write the provider for this context. Const text provider. So the provider is how we like use context. We make sure that we have a provider so that whoever whatever beneath that provider in the tree has access to the context. So I'm probably supposed to keep the code I wrote before so that I can just still do the same thing, but instead just use I know I deleted out. I can just Control Z if I can. I'm going to destructure the children because children is what we'll be passing into the context so that we can actually give the children access to everything that the context is offering. I'm going to create my normal text states that I created before. Text, set text, use use state. I'm going to call this hello folks. And then in here I'm just going to come here and create another now I'm just going to come here and return my provider with my context. So this is going to be like text content the provider, text context the provider. This is how we use context. We create the
Yeah,
provider like
exactly.
this and like this, then we close it. Thank you Ali for that. Then we close it like this. And then in my provider I can now pass in the value down here. And my values in this case will be an object containing text and set text. So here I'm just going to pass in the children
Yeah.
so that everybody that is a child of this provider has access to the context. So that is pretty much it. I need to import use state too. So use state. Awesome. So now I'm going to carry this entire code I've written here, and I'm just going to cut it. So I can Control Z back to what I had before. So I can be able to use my old code. Oh yeah, this is my old code.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my old code, right? Now let me show you what magic I'm going to do now. So now instead of me having to put my state here in my app, I'm not going to actually do that because it's super unnecessary. I'm just going to go to my app like real quick and wrap my app with text with my text content provider, and then you see how I would just easily use my text context. So I'm just going to come here. So now in my text component, my app for first to begin with my app, I'm just going to come here and then wrap make this guy like a return block so I can have access to use the provider. Um, let's just come here and do text context provider, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to open this, then I'm going to put my header in here. My header does not really need this prop because I'm not passing any prop again. So I'm just wrapping my header like this with it. So now I'm just going to come into my into my text component, and I'm going to call use state. I'm going to call const. Now the state I actually need here. Why is this thing doing like this? It's just text. So I'm going to destructure text from use context because use context is the hook we actually do call to use our context. I'm just going to come here. Okay, thank you for importing. So it's because I'm following you. That's why. So it just always keeps the live share. So use context now. Inside use context, I'm going to pass in the context I want to use. So text context is the context I want to use. All right. I created text context. Text provider. Text provider.
Okay. Oh, text context is yeah,
Text
te-
context. Text context.
yeah, text context.
Text context. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that. So if Ali could render this thing on the browser, for example, we'll be able to see that okay, this context is actually still working, and we're able to use the text that we are destructuring from up here inside here. So that way you've been able to avert prop drilling by using context. It's very easy to set up and have in your project. So prop drilling is something you should like avoid by any means possible. But you should always like also make sure to use context sparingly because it's not everything you want to make
Mhm.
global. Because context is very good for global data, like data that you need everywhere in your application. You can use context to save it and just use it from anywhere in your application. But it's not every time you should always put every state in context, every data in context. Sometimes you need to have some data locally in your components so that you can just use them. Or if it's between two components, from parent to child, it's still fine. But when it starts getting to parent to child to grandchild, then that is a lot. So it could be smart in those cases to use context. So yeah, that is how you use context to work with components.
Mhm.
Yeah. So did you render?
Yes, like there is some problem like a spelling mistake, like text content provider. Like we have to wrap the application with context provider. Like it's a spelling
Oh,
mistake
oh, text
here.
context provider. Yeah. Okay, okay. Oh, text provider. Let me just take this out.
Yeah, text. Uh, Toby, are you there? Toby seems to be not answering. Okay, so let me continue from now on. Like there was a mistake. Like Toby created two. a variable, like first one for text context and the second one for text provider. So this is a thing that we have to wrap the application with text provider, not text context. Like if you want to use the value of text and set text, we have to use text context, text, like text context. But we have to wrap the application with text provider. So you see, right now we see the value. Like let me change the value to something like "How are you?" We are going to see it on the page. So that's what Toby explained. Like instead of using props like for subchildren and grandchildren and something like that, and it will be so messy, and it's that the code doesn't look good. So for having a clean code, it's better to use the use context, which and also like one more thing, like we have a one series that we talked about use context, like how to use context and how it is going to be working. So you can check that and learn about use context. So let's see, where is Toby? Okay, he left the live stream. So it was the second tip that Toby talked about. So the second tip is also done. Okay, so the third tip that I'm going to teach is going to be React fragments. Okay, Toby, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What happened?
Yeah, yeah, my laptop went off.
Oh, really? It was
Yeah.
39. Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
so okay, let me explain. Like, I fixed the text provider, so right now it is looking good. Like, it's working fine. So,
Okay, nice.
are you like, do you want to add anything to the tip, or I should go and teach about the next tip?
Oh no, that was it. I just wanted to basically show the process, show the idea of how you can have context
Mhm.
help you pass data like
Okay.
that you might need in like a component that is deep down in the React tree. So that was pretty much it. So use context, do not drill props, please.
Okay, that's good. So the second tip is also done by Toby. So let's go to the third tip, which is React.fragment. So let me delete this function and also this one here. We don't really need this one. You just need a div. Inside of that div, just say h1 logo. And why we can see the logo, return div. Let me restart the server. Interesting. Oh, export. Okay, so right now we see the logo. Let's see. Toby acquired there. Okay, so for the third tip there, which is React.fragment, like you see, like if you're working in a, like, wait a second. So when you're working in a file, like a component like navbar section or hero section or something like landing page, something like that, you are able to use only one parent, which is div. And
Mm-hmm.
you are going to like you must add like h1 sublist or parent, something like that inside of
Mm-hmm.
that parent. But if I want to add something else, like another parent outside, like something like section, which is outside, like there are two parents right now, like one of them is div and the another one is section. You see, we are getting an error and it is saying like JSX expression must have one parent element.
Yeah.
Or if to solve this problem, like I have to add, like take this section to inside the div, but I don't want to be like that. I want the div to be something else and the section to be something else. But to solve the problem, React, like there is a hook, something hook or some like a package that is coming from React itself, which is called fragment. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to import it and say fragment, which is coming from React. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to wrap this whole thing, which are div section inside the fragment. I would say fragment. So right now you see we don't see any error.
Yeah.
So everything is working fine. So the shortcut, like there's also a shortcut way of using fragments. Like there's no need to import anything from React. Like the short way of using fragment is to use empty. Like there, if you use empty, like just the greater and the less sign, then all the things like it's going to be working fine. Like it is a short way of using fragment, and instead of importing the fragment itself from React, like if you don't want to import it, just it's all right. You can use this short way, which is just writing empty, and that will fix the problem. So that was the third trick tip, which is done. So Toby, are you going to teach like the fourth tip?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can, yeah, I can teach it. And then can you write the code, please?
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So the next tip is lazy loading. So the way lazy loading works is that I mean there's something called code splitting in JavaScript, and when you're a JavaScript developer, you probably heard of like coding split or something here and there. So code splitting is how you like can write code and then only use like a section of the code that you need at a certain period of time, so that you don't like overwhelm your components and have it do so much work. So yeah, that's like a very concise and reduced explanation of code splitting. It's more there's more information to it. You can look up or something. But yeah, the React team doesn't really allow that, because like a normal code splitting can break stuff, and it might not make your components work as expected. So which is why we have something called React lazy in React. It's like a lazy function in React that we can call. The function is literally lazy. So I can show you lazy loading and how we can use it to load like an let's say an about section of your component. So for example, if Ali creates like an about component and does lorem inside, maybe an about, maybe lorem 20. So maybe you can make the about be in a separate file, like an about, yeah, in a separate
Okay,
file. Yeah,
sure. So let's say about.jsx
exactly,
and say export default function about, and let's return a div, which is inside of that div we are going to get a lorem ipsum. Okay,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So back in the component where we are in app, we can now import
okay,
about lazily. So the way to import about, if you go to the top, no, no, no. Like we're going to import it lazily. So about is a component that
okay,
would render normally, but because I want to show
okay,
you lazy loading, actually, yeah, what Ali did is very correct. You can just render about and we are good to go. But I want to show you lazy loading and how we can like use it in code, because lazy loading will come when you're trying to optimize your applications, maybe when you're trying to avoid unnecessary renderings, maybe when you're trying to do some things that would make your components be efficient and stuff to some extent. So these are like optimization techniques and stuff that React offers, and lazy loading is one of them. So at the top, if you can go to the top, Ali. So
okay,
before the app, like outside of the app
okay,
component, yeah. So you can just
okay,
do const, just like const about component, yeah. Then you
okay,
can now do equals react dot lazy,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, so then inside the React
React.lazy.
lazy, you can pass a callback function. That means you have to
Like
import
this one?
React. Yeah, you can pass a callback function. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Import React from
Okay,
React. Yeah, yeah. So inside the callback
okay,
function, you can now do import, then open parenthesis,
Is
Import open
is this the
parenthesis.
correct way that I'm doing?
Yeah, you're doing great. So import open parenthesis.
Okay,
Now put quotes in the parenthesis,
okay.
then dots. Now the path to the file, the path to the about file.
Sorry, I didn't get. Like, what should I do?
Like the path like dots, like the path to the about file,
Oh,
like the way
okay,
you import. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, it's in the quotes because I'm staying in the red.
Yeah, it is saying like identifier expected.
You didn't what?
Not yet. I think we have to use quotation.
Oh, you have to import about normally at the top too. Oh no, no,
Okay.
no, you don't need to. You actually don't need to. You just need the quotations there, yeah, to import about. Yeah, with the
Uh,
quotations should
we are
show.
getting error.
Is there a space? Let me see. No, there shouldn't be a space between import and the no, no, parenthesis, not curly braces. Is that parenthesis? Parenthesis, not curly braces. You're using curly braces. Parenthesis. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's no, no, no. Parenthesis like brackets, like this. Parenthesis like
Okay.
s-
Oh
bent,
my god.
like yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But still, we are going to get an error.
No, no, that's the curly brace. That's the curly brace. It should be parenthesis, like the one you use to define a component, to define a function. No, no, like parenthesis. Can I type it? Let me type it in the
Oh
private
my
chat.
god. Right. Oh my god. Okay.
So parenthesis is like this. Uh, that's fine. So this is parenthesis in the private chat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right now it's
exactly,
working
exactly.
fine.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh
now
my
put
god.
about
Okay.
component. Put about component in the
Okay.
div.
That's
Yeah, now put about component
okay.
as a normal component. Yeah, in the div.
Okay. Okay. About component. Okay.
So now when we refresh,
And we don't see
um,
anything.
are we getting any errors?
No. Then we go to the div tools. Hmm. Let me refresh. Cannot read properties of undefined reading then.
Cannot read properties of
Yeah.
undefined reading words. Yeah.
Uh,
What do you?
like like it is saying like cannot read properties of undefined reading then. What does it mean?
Oh, is it the file? It's probably the file. Kind of like about. Wait. Give me a minute. It should
Now
be working.
just export default function return div. Inside of that div we are having paragraph with lorem some.
No, I don't think you need .gsx. Maybe you can remove the .gsx you are using there.
Okay, let me refresh. Let me Google it like how to use React but lazy. What do you
Yeah,
think?
maybe there's an error because I don't see any error.
Yeah, code splitting. We are going to okay lazy. Import lazy. So okay, React.lazy. So okay, import. Okay, it's
Yes, it's the same thing.
connected. J6.
There is no. We can
Import.
provide a suspense. We can provide a suspense too that will act as a fallback. Like if you go to the div, so instead of the div, you can use a component called suspense.
Okay,
Suspense. You have to import it too. Suspense. Suspense.
suspense.
PN.
Okay,
Yeah, suspense. Yeah. So open
okay.
and close it. So inside suspense, you can provide something called a prop called fallback rather.
Fall back. Okay,
So
and it's
fallback
going
will
to be
contain.
about.
Yeah, fallback can be a normal div like, but it has to be in quotes. Oh no, no, you just write it like that. But you can provide a normal like div, maybe hello or something.
Okay,
Div hello. Yeah, open, close. Yeah, yeah, hello. Yeah, let's see if this works.
okay. The same error.
Hmm, what could be going wrong? Let's check the docs.
Okay, so it's just very called lazy, lazy import, suspect fallback loading, preview markdown, which is that one, loading, preview, has to work. Let's not use the suspense.
Mm-hmm.
About J6 is good.
Is the path
Okay,
correct?
so let's say H1 hello
Mm-hmm.
world.
We're debugging React code. What is it saying?
Yeah, like the same error, like it is saying cannot read properties of undefined reading then.
Then I don't know what does then mean. String.
I think I have to return import.
Oh yeah, you have to return it.
Oh yeah, right now it's working good.
You have to return it. Yeah, that
I
was
had to return it. Yeah,
it. Oh my god, I didn't see that. I thought you were using implicit import because normally with the callback function we should have just passed import directly without having to use the curly braces. Like in the callback function of
yeah,
React.js. Yeah, I think it's because we're using
yeah.
if you remove the curly braces now, it should work fine. If you remove the curly braces and remove the return. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right now it's working good.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because I'm not doing anything too complex or big. That's why. Yeah, React.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was a good debugging time.
yeah, it was, it was. So that is lazy loading, folks. And yeah, you can like use this at times when you want to use it, when you want to have a component that uses other components, but you don't want the components to all load at once. And it could be very great because when you're doing optimizations and trying to ensure that you have your components work in the correct way, you have your page load faster, you have your page load quicker that because React is normally heavy and could be slow a lot at times. So things like React lazy loading, memo callback, those are things you can actually use for minor optimizations just to help your components and to help your application be a bit faster and more efficient. So yeah, that is lazy loading and that's how it works. Thank you.
Okay, that's that's a great explanation, Toby. So, as Toby explained the fourth tip, I'm going to explain the next tip, which is messy files. Like, before like jumping like explaining about messy files, like if you're working in a big project, like you're going to have lots of files, lots of folders, and lots of files that might be boring or that might be overwhelming. But if you want to have a clean project, like have a clean folders and files, you have to use the folders efficiently. Like for example, like imagine like I'm working in a massive project, like I need components, I'm going to make components, I'm going to make utils like a reusable component, I'm going to like if I'm using TypeScript, like I'm going to make a folders that is especially for types. Like if I'm working like with context, like I'm going to make a folder especially for context. But if I don't use any folders, like if I don't make any folders, then all of your files is going to be inside src, which is going to be overwhelming. Like if you want to find a file, especially for like if you want to file especially for context, then you have to file, like you have to put most of your time finding that file and bring change to that. But for solving the issue, all you need to
Mm-hmm.
do is to make folders, make
Mm-hmm.
files. For example,
Mm-hmm.
like if I want to make a component, I'm going to make a folder by the name of component,
Mm-hmm.
like spelling mistake. So components. So for example, like I have a button, I have a nav bar, I have
Mm-hmm.
a card, like I have a section that is specially for cards, that I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put all of that like all of that files inside of this component. But if I'm and also like if I'm using TypeScript, like I need to make another folder for especially for types. I'm going
Yeah,
to bring
yeah.
all of my types in the inside this folder. Like I'm like as Tobix like use context in the second tip, like I'm going to make a folder by the name of context, which is especially used for context. Like if you're
Mm-hmm.
using context for like for having global state management, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to put all your all of the files that are related to context inside this folder. Like you can add more folders, like for example utils, and also something like styles, like the styles. You can
Yeah,
you can have those kind of folders. And yeah, like for solving the issue, like you have to make folders like component, context, style, types, and utils for having a clean project. Like you're not doing it for yourself, like you're not doing it for others. Like if you're working in a team, you're not, like for me, like if I'm working in a team, I'm not going to do it especially for them. Like I'm going to do it for myself, for the code to not be overwhelming. Like I'm
yeah,
going to put
exactly.
all of my files in a specific folder, like
Mm-hmm.
component, context, and etc., to
Mm-hmm.
make my work easy and not
Easier.
overwhelming.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You're right. I agree with that. Yeah,
And yeah, that was the fifth, I think, tip. So the last
yeah.
tip, Toby is going to explain it.
So yeah, prop plowing. This was a concept that I recently got stumbled upon, and yeah, this is something that I've been using a lot lately in my in code bases and stuff. And it's something that is really efficient and makes readability easier to some extent because when you think about a prop, what is a prop? A prop is just an object, like a JavaScript object that you're passing down. Because when you have to actually access things that are in prop, you have to do prop dot something or you destructure from the object to get the props that you need. Because that's the way React works normally when you're passing props down. So with prop plowing, you can basically just create your own object and then pass it to your prop so that you can go and destructure it and then use it there. So that's basically how prop plowing works. So let me show you something real quick with code and we can look at it together. So if you create a component called yeah uh profile or something like profile, yeah, no, it has to be in the
Okay,
same file. It can be in the same file too. It can be in the
okay.
same file. No, it doesn't have to be in the same file, but it can be in the same file. Yeah. So you can create a component called prop profile
I
container
have
or
to
something.
return. Should I like add a paragraph, or should keep this empty?
You can make it have an H1, a paragraph, um,
Okay,
an H2, maybe H1, H2, H3, all the way to H6. Yeah.
okay,
Yes. Yes. So now let's go back to the app. So now I'm going to do something very crazy now, and we're going to just take profile and render it in here. So let's render profile. Now you can put parentheses so that because I'm going to do other stuff too, like before. Yeah, exactly. So now before the return, I'm just basically going to create I'm going to create an object now. So now before the return, we're going to create an object. We're going to call it profile data. So instead of me now I'm going to create like maybe 6 states. So maybe that might be yeah, that might be a lot, but let's create 6 states. Cons profile data. Yeah, in profile data now. Oh yeah, you can create 6 states first. Yeah. So profile data.
okay. It's going to be an object.
Yeah, it can be an object. Yeah, exactly. An object that contains data for, or maybe you can create 6 separate states. It doesn't either way works. You can create 6 separate states, or you can create states a state that has an object inside. Yeah, a state that has an
Yeah.
object inside. Yeah, so we can just do that one. Profile data dot h1. No, create an object. Have you done the object? Yeah, okay. No. Inside the object, I we need to like create like an object that has key and value pairs like inside the object here.
Okay,
So maybe, yeah, H1
let's say
data Ali.
like
Yeah,
I'm
name. Okay, yeah, Ali
I'm
Reza. Yeah, that's better. Name Ali. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Name
and the age is something like 18, 20, 22, something like that. Okay,
okay, yeah. Maybe make the age like a string. Maybe make the age a normal string. Just one age is okay.
like
So
something like
age,
okay,
yeah, name, age, date of birth, country, stuff like that. Just make it six. We're going for six. We're going for six data.
okay, 6 days. Okay, let's
Yeah.
say mm, date of birth, 25, something like that, and it was for and job is front end and salary is $3,000 per day. Okay.
Yeah. So normally the way we created this state is actually what we did up there with creating this state as an object is actually not might not be efficient at times, but because of the purpose of what we are trying to do. So I'm just going to show you something real quick and yeah, just something real quick and you see how it works. So now here's what we're going to do. We're going to spread profile data inside the object. Now if you can consider log profile data so you see what it looks like. Consider log profile data. Let's see what profile data is in our
Okay.
function.
Let's
Yeah.
console.log profile data. So let's go to the div tools.
So it should
So
be an
let me
object
refresh the page. Yeah,
that
it's an
contains.
object.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
an object that contains six items. So there are two ways to do this thing. You can actually like have created a separate object, then created six states, so that each state would keep track of each data. Then inside the object, you will now be manually passing this each state as a value in your key value pair, so that you can later spread it as a prop. But for what I'm doing here, just to make it concise, we created the profile data itself as a state, but that is an object. So inside the object, we manually made the values hard coded there, so that we have one state that is managing all six of them, and then we can just use it. But when you're trying to set this state, it will be more smarter for you to spread the old state and then modify the one you want to modify. But because we're not really changing the state here, so we can work with this for now. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to spread profile data inside the profile component. So we can just do like a normal
Okay.
spread ES6. So we just create an object,
Okay.
then spread. Yeah, exactly. Profile data.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now in profile, yeah, we are going to now destructure each of the values. So yeah, we can destructure each of them. Name, age.
Okay.
Now we're going to modify the H1 down to the H6 to have each one of these items.
Sure. So let's say name, age, then copy and paste. Okay. We are seeing the data.
Now, exactly. So that is prop plowing. And there's actually another way that, as I said before, I could have shown you prop plowing with something different. But what we did here, we basically just created one state and managed everything at once. But mind you, the thing would most of the things might come when you're managing the states because you might need to be setting the state again. Maybe you made a change in your app that requires resetting the state. You have to spread the old states then modify the one you want to modify because that's the way states that contain objects work. So but if you don't want to do that, you can
Mm-hmm.
just create six separate states so that you can be modifying each one of them one by one and you don't have to each one doesn't have to affect the other. But it depends on you, whichever works for you. React allows both. But of course, it's just about preference because this is React. You can do anything. You can write bad code. You can write good code. But what qualifies good code in React? Maybe readability. So yeah. So that's pretty much
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much prop plowing. And Yeah, that was it. We just spread the objects that we need, and we destructure it in the components where we need it, and then we pass it down, and yeah, you're good to go. So that is prop plowing.
Yeah, that was a nice explanation, Toby. So I think it was like Toby explained the last tip. So let me explain like what what tips we were explaining. So the first tip was big component extension for making component, and the second was prop drilling, React dot fragment, lazy loading, and messy files and prop plowing, which was the last one as Toby explained. So I think at Toby, like that's pretty much it. Like we explained the sixth tip for making our work easy while working in a React project or next project doesn't matter. Like if you're also working in a next project, you can also do the same thing. Like you can use these tips in that project as well. Like Next.js is a framework of React.js, so
Okay,
you
yeah,
can do so
yeah,
many. Like you can do similar things with Next.js as well, like lazy
yeah,
loading, React fragment, and etc.
yeah, exactly. Next is pretty much React. You just have to if you know React, you know Next basically. You just have to learn some other things to make your next knowledge solidified. That's all. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was pretty much it, and then we were able to show you the tips we meant to talk about. I'm very sorry about this because my power went out, so my laptop died.
hmm
But yeah, the power is
Yeah.
actually back now, but I'm still just charging my laptop. So I'll just continue with my
Okay,
phone
that's
for
good.
now. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for attending and making it to this today's episode, and I had so much fun. I had so I had so much fun today. Why? I had
Oh
so
my
much
god,
fun
yeah.
today, and yeah, I'm glad we're able to show you everything, and it all worked out great. Thank you guys for showing up. The
Yeah.
scheduling of this came up very late, and we actually did try to schedule sooner so that we can like get this out there, but we are so sorry, viewers, and I hope you guys get value from this because the point of this live streams is for you to actually get the value you need from and learn stuff. So Ali, anything you say on this
Exactly.
side? Yeah,
Yeah. So as Toby said, like the point of live stream that we are doing is for you to learn something, like, and also for you and also for us to improve our confidence, like self-confidence, to improve our teaching. And yeah, like with one shot we can hit two two, like two things. Like we can hit, like we can teach for you, and also we can teach ourselves.
yeah,
Like while explaining to you, we're also learning something, we're also improving, and we are also helping ourselves to remember something like for a long term. And that's
exactly,
also a good thing. Like, and
exactly.
also about the you guys, your concept. Like I mentioned about prop draw, something like, what did you teach Toby the last tip?
Prop
What was it?
prop plowing.
Okay, prop flowing. That's something like
Yeah,
that, and it was good.
yeah,
Like you can learn something like this, and yeah, hope you like take took something from the live stream.
yeah. I hope so too. I really hope so too. That is my that is something I always always look forward to giving out in this live streams value because the idea of like giving this live stream is for us to actually teach you something in the most simplest way that we can so that you can actually learn something because when you teach something simply and you can show it to somebody else yeah it's somebody else
hmm
that person can get value from it just by seeing it in the simplest form, but when you make it too complicated it might get it might become a whole lot and stuff. Well, I'm glad and Ali are able to do this every Saturday for you guys. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, awesome. All right, bye everyone. See you next. Have a wonderful weekend and see you next Saturday. Ali,
Yeah, yeah. See you. Bye, everyone. Take care.
bye.